So I had told myself I was done talking about the pitfalls of the major label music industry, but I just read an article that absolutely horrified me, and I think it is something that should be discussed. This is from the Irish Times. This is from 2023, so not entirely up to date. Things may be different now, but it's an interview with Mahalia, a now 26-year-old singer-songwriter from the UK. First off, I don't know Mahalia personally. I met her once in a hotel lift at Montreux Jazz Festival in 2018. I thought she had some amazing songs, amazing voice, and frankly, I was a little envious of her. Mahalia's career took off when she was incredibly young. She met Ed Sheeran after a show of his in 2012. He tweeted a link to her SoundCloud, and just 2 months later, she was signed by Asylum Records, a subsidiary of Warner Music Group. She was just 13 at the time. She supported Ed Sheeran on tour in 2014. She recorded the vocals for a #1 hit in the UK by Rudimental in 2015, and in 2018 she was ranked #1 on YouTube's One to Watch list. In 2019, Radio 1 in the UK put her on their prestigious Brit list, and in 2020 she won 2 MOBO awards, Best Female Act and Best R&B Soul Act. At just 22, that is an incredible amount to have achieved. She's since released 2 studio albums, and her song I Wish I Missed My Ex has had over 128 million plays on Spotify at the time of recording. The article links to a tweet Mahalia posted in June 2023. Mahalia, I have been signed to a label since I was 13. I'm 25 now, which basically means I've racked up 12 years of debt. I have never made a penny off of my own music, 100 million streams, with all money made going to my label. This is pretty standard practice in most major label contracts. The article then continues saying that the label gave her an advance at 13, and under the contract, 80% of the income from her future recordings would go to the label, and 20% to her, but only when she'd repaid the advance. And costs like studio time, production, paying for guest artists, and the bills for her music videos would come out of her share, meaning she is still in debt to her label, in part because she didn't start putting out most of her music until she was 19. Can we all just take a moment to acknowledge that it is pretty bizarre for a business to saddle a child with a significant amount of debt? Those of you who are parents watching, would you be okay with me giving your child a $500k loan that I will recoup from all their future income? I imagine not. Absolutely no disrespect to Mahalia or her family, by the way. This is a broad problem, and her experience was just the catalyst for this monologue. I would have absolutely taken this deal if it had been offered to me at 13. But can we all just acknowledge this is really weird? Oh, but we're investing in talent, says the label. Investing. If you're investing in talent, if you are developing an artist, if you are truly supportive of this person's future potential and think that they are the future of music, then surely this should not be a repayable debt. It should instead be part of your cost of doing business, because without the artists who make the music, you have nothing to sell. It's worth noting that Warner's total annual revenue in 2023 was in the region of $6 billion, and I don't know their profit, but I imagine our R&D fund is not out of their grasp. Also, the 80% to the label, where does the money go? Promotion and marketing? So why is the artist paying for the music video? Why are they the ones told to build a social media profile, to create a direct link to their fans? Why not a 50-50 split after costs are recouped? There's an interview on YouTube with Joe Kentish, Warner's head of A&R, in which he says,
there needs to be an element of the commercial. I've got to think, right, I kind of know that we can do a job with them. And that sounds cynical, but it's really important that I look at you and I think that all the resources that my company has at its disposal will dovetail with what you're doing and make it bigger. Because artists can release music themselves. So I need to look at you and think that what we do plus what you do can be bigger. We'll be adding value to your business.
All the resources my company has at its disposal will dovetail with what you're doing and will make it bigger. We'll be adding value. to your business. So, music aside, you're running a small business, let's say a bakery, and you need a cash injection to grow, to buy a fancy new kitchen. You would go to the bank, maybe present a business plan, get a loan, and then make a monthly repayment with a fixed rate of interest. First of all, you'd need to be 18. No 13-year-olds would be allowed a loan like this. And the bank wouldn't be the one telling you, oh, your bread needs to be a little more like this, your croissants need more chocolate on them, and actually you need to buy all your flour, butter, and eggs from us. And we'll actually manage all the money side, and we'll be taking 100% of your income until the loan is repaid. Because that would kill your business. And you're not making the same pastry day in, day out. You have to come out with a new form of pastry each month. And if your new pastry doesn't perform as well as your last one, you're out. Now, let's also add commonplace drugs and alcohol, unbearable fame and pressure, doxing, sexual abuse, media scrutiny. You get the picture. So, a label is not so much a bank as an investor, one who provides a buffet of services in exchange for a large cut of your business. But the thing is, let's be honest, if you have signed to a major label, your music is no longer your business. It is theirs. And now you work for them, but you are still in charge of all the risk and technically self-employed. So you don't receive the same benefits as the people working at the label. They are getting paid, but you are paying them from your share. And you're 13, 15, even 18, and you're signing things you don't fully understand because having a lawyer reading them will cost you several thousand. And you and your family may not have that sort of money. And by the way, you're underage and you have a middle-aged person telling you how it's done, how it's always been done. And if you don't like it, there's thousands out there who will. Pretty weird, right? Not really okay. It's worth noting that the adolescent brain is not fully developed until like the age of 25. And I think we all look back at our teenage years and think, why did I do that? What was I thinking? It is pretty clear that an industry that runs on naivety tells you you're too old to be a pop star once you're 25 or older. And don't worry, I know I'm a bitter old hag and totally past it. Sure. It's like someone coming up to a child selling lemonade outside their home, telling them their lemonade has the potential to be the biggest lemonade in the world, and they can make that happen. And handing that child a 6-figure loan to take their lemonade global, that would be insane, wouldn't it? That doesn't happen. But it happens all the time in the music industry. One of my favourite documentaries of the last few years is Kate Nash, Underestimate the Girl. Kate is a British singer-songwriter who, after posting song demos to MySpace, was signed to Polydor, part of Universal Music Group, aged 17. In an interview with The Guardian in 2019, she recalled feeling on the verge of a panic attack when signing her deal. She said, "My mum was like, look, if you don't want to do it, we can just get on the tube, go home, go to Pizza Express and forget all about it." And she meant it. But afterwards, my manager at the time said to her, "Well played." And my mum was like, "Excuse me? I'm not playing my own child." Isn't that disgusting? Honestly, sometimes I'm so ashamed to be a musician because the industry is just so vampiric. And what is the obsession with children and young girls? Why not say, we think you're great, keep working at it, keep in touch and come back to us in a few years when you're a little bit older. Kate's debut album, Made of Bricks, was a huge hit in the UK. She won a Brit Award and then toured for 2 years straight, suffering regular panic attacks and receiving absolutely no pastoral care from the label. Kate Nash also said, "Artists often have mental health issues and their lifestyles are unstable because of all the travelling and the media commentary on their lives. Now I'm like, how are all these 40-year-old men hanging out with me, happy to profit from me, and not concerned about my health in any way?" Her second album flopped. The label dropped her. She had to sell the flat she bought and spent years paying off music-related debts and separating herself from her management. There's a moving scene in the doc where she's practically bankrupt, selling bags of her clothes to a thrift store and just absolutely desperate because she has no other experience in how to make money. In an interview with Big Issue North, she said, "There's no music industry HR department. There are no guidelines. It's a completely unprofessional industry. It's normal for older men to take teenagers out, get them drunk, have them sign contracts they'll be in until their 40s or 50s. Nash is an ambassador for Key Change, an organisation dedicated to fighting for gender equality in the music industry. I'm pleased to say she's still making great music, first via the independent route and now with a new deal with the indie label Kill Rockstars. Do check her out." Others are not so lucky. Brought to international stardom at the age of 17 as part of the boy band One Direction. On the 16th of October 2024, we lost Liam Payne, who fell off a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires. At the time of filming, the exact circumstances are still to be revealed, but it's been reported that various drugs were found in his system. As a member of one of the decade's biggest pop groups, Liam Payne made millions of dollars, but struggled with drugs, alcohol, and mental health issues, attending rehab more than once. In a 2019 interview, he opened up about the extreme challenges he'd faced. He said, "There have been a lot of people in trouble with mental health that aren't really getting the help that they need, and I think that's a bit of a problem in our industry." In their podcast, Miss Me, Lily Allen and Makita Oliver highlight the fact that these groups are referred to as manufactured, fittingly industrial language that perfectly fits the meat grinder nature of the business. Manufactured to benefit who, exactly? It's another example of a talented individual destroyed by fame. The list is getting longer and longer. It's not a one-off, as we all know, and it's just terribly sad. I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it again. I would love to see a change. Let children be children. I think we can all cope with our pop stars being just, I don't know, a little more mature, older, wiser, and complicated is more interesting anyway. It makes for better music. You've had experiences. You have more in common with your audience. You've worked on your craft behind the scenes. You're a little more equipped to deal with what life throws at you. You've had a chance to grow up. So, walk your own path, be wary of signing anything tempting offered to you. Debt that is out of your control to repay is highly undesirable. Stay small, grow at your own pace, and keep your independence, especially in this day and age. So thank you so much for watching this rant. And yeah, I think this deserves a mic drop. Yeah, I have been holding that the whole time, and yes, I put some cushions down. No mics were harmed in the making of this video. Okay.